College sports in the U.S. is big business.
People in these stands buy tickets and merchandise. TV networks sign multi-million-dollar deals to film here. But those players on the field behind me, they're students.
And they're not getting paid. A new law signed in California could change all of that. So this week, we're asking,
should they be paid? No.
They should get paid because they do the same thing, the NFL players be doing.
If you're here on a scholarship, that is kind of getting paid.
This is a Division I college football game in San Jose, California. A scene like this is pretty typical in the United States. In fact, it gets even bigger. These games could easily be confused for professional ones, except these players are considered amateur.
The special sauce of college sports, why people watch it, why it is this, super popular entity in this country is because the participants are amateurs, and essentially it means they don't get paid.
That's according to rules placed by the National Collegiate Athletics Association. It says players are students first, and they can only be paid through scholarships, or they'll be kicked off their team. That wouldn't be controversial if college sports weren't the big money-making industry they are today.
The idea that there's not enough money to simply pay the athletes rather than to shower them, with luxurious gifts because the rules say they can't play them is patently absurd.
In 2017, the NCAA brought in a historic $1 billion in revenue. You heard that right. And some coaches are the highest paid public servants in their state.
And when you look at coaches making $10 million, assistant coaches even making multi-million-dollar salaries, and the multi-millions of dollars being spent on facilities, stadium upgrades, locker rooms, the fundamental question here is that fair?
All right.
California didn't think so.
Now law in California.
The state just passed SB 206. It will allow athletes to profit off their name, image, and likeness, not to be confused with paying players a salary. The bill goes into effect in 2023.
And it's going to change college sports for the better by having now the interests, finally, of the athletes on par with the interests of the institutions.
It's already making some California high school athletes reconsider who they will sign with, like this top-ranked recruit.
We have to think about it and see what's the best choice.
It's kind of insane to think about all these different opportunities that we miss out on that any other student has the right to profit off of or earn from things that don't even relate to the sport.
If you recognize Caitlin, it's probably because you are one of the millions who watched this. Her gymnastics routine for the University of California, Los Angeles went viral earlier this year. The NCAA's rules kept her from capitalizing on her social media success.
With not being able to receive any compensation for my video going viral, it kind of posed a lot of questions as to my main question is, where does that money go? Because we don't know whether it goes to the university, we don't know if it goes to NCAA, all the media outlets.
That's one of the reasons why she was a vocal supporter of the bill California just passed.
This now allows you to go to the Olympics, earn whatever you would have earned from going there, and still having the opportunity to come back to college and compete. We're so young when we peak that this now creates so much more opportunity for us.
It wasn't always as complicated. The history of college sports began in 1843 when Yale created, wait for it, a boat club. Harvard formed its own the following year. The two went head-to-head for the first time in 1852, triggering the formation of other collegiate sports teams and organized competition. The NCAA was founded in 1906 to help with that. But then, in 1939, television changed everything. That's when the first college football game was televised. College basketball followed in 1940, and so came the popularization of college sports. Since then, the number of student athletes in the U.S. has grown to more than 400,000 in sports varying from golf to horse riding and even bowling. The games, especially for football and basketball, have also gotten bigger, as have the TV network deals, team endorsements, and NCAA revenue. Those rules keep student athletes from earning money.
In its first incarnations, players were paid. and then in the 1950s, they introduced these amateurism rules that we know today.
The NCAA rules don't apply for Coco Gauff. She's too young for college. But at 15, the Wimbledon sensation is expected to earn more than $1 million from endorsements this year. Some sports, like tennis and soccer, don't require you to go to college to go pro. But for football and basketball, that's the only path to making it in the professional American leagues.
I was sweating and running and pushing my body to the brink every single day. But on the other hand, I was doing it with brothers. I was doing it with a family.
Cody was on the basketball team at the University of Northern Colorado. He went on to finish law school.
It wouldn't have happened if it wasn't for Division I athletics paying for my school.
He worries that allowing student athletes to be paid from endorsements will ruin the experience of playing amateur.
So a real question of pay for play is what happens when a quarterback is receiving tens of thousands of dollars and the O-linemen that are supposed to be protecting him on the very same field are receiving $0. That means that there's a very wide income disparity within teams, which can cause some very strained relationships in locker rooms, on the court, and on the field. And that's concerning. I don't think that should exist in college sports.
But is a free education enough?
If student athletes are not okay with receiving an education, debt-free, room and board, and all the perks that come with being a college amateur student athlete, they should be able to go pro, get paid, and deal with all the responsibilities that come with that. They should not be forced to be amateurs.
Other states are starting to draft their own bills similar to California's. But we'll have to wait until at least 2023 to see the consequences these might have, if any.
That's all for this week's episode of Cut Through the Noise from California. We'll see you next Thursday.